Hello, our friends, Evolutionary Energy Arts family. We hope you guys are doing well.
Hello there. Welcome back.
Yeah, the Earth changes are rolling on. Artificially flavored, all natural, all of the above, a little bit of this, a little bit of that. So here we see Mount Nyiragongo erupting, causing nearby residents to flee in panic. And this is in the Democratic Republic of the Congo. And, relatively close to the equator, again, big eruptions around the equator tend to cool the planet off more than those more towards the poles.
Very concerning. We're watching this one.
Honestly, this one, if you look at the videos and the photos, kind of looks like images of hellfire and brimstone.
Yeah, it does.
Really, it's creepy. It is creepy. There's 2 active volcanoes in this area. Look at that. So pray for Goma citizens, most definitely. And there's videos here as well. And out of RT, you can see people were fleeing and panicking.
Wow.
Yeah, we have a lot of activity going on right now with the eruptions, that is for sure. Strong eruption with large lava fountaining at Sangay in Ecuador. This is, again, Ecuador, the equator. Again, another one that's going to be in that area. If we get something bigger, like a VEI 7, then we'll seriously notice, although still watching, today, again, I don't know. I mean, we don't have blue skies.
Right.
Where's the blue skies? It's either raining or it's so thick with what looks to be artificial, flavoring in the sky, so to speak, blocking out the information coming from the sun that should be penetrating our skin and awakening our DNA. But instead, we have just, it's like Gotham.
It is a little dark. I do think we're definitely getting some information, or the trees wouldn't be as green as they are.
Well, everything is very thick and lush.
Yes.
That is for sure. Very thick and lush. And, here you can see the emissions coming on. And, again, it's going to be a trend is going to be towards cooling. Strong and shallow 6.5 hits Fiji area. And of course, this is where we see some deep, strong ones. This one wasn't really deep. This is just at 6.2 miles. Although, thankfully, no damage or deaths reported there. Now, this is really interesting. The sun is definitely waking up. There's 2 things going on. We got the sun waking up, and our magnetosphere appears to be weaker than perhaps most people thought at the same time. Look at these flares. Look at these flare activities there. There's a couple there that are touching M class. Very, very interesting. I mean, I think I could feel it. I could feel it. If Cindy and I feel it, I know a lot of you guys feel it too. When this energy wave came in, we both went out and we were running errands, and then we shot back, and all of a sudden we felt like the guides wanted to get us. So we felt like very tired, and we know a lot of times that's downloads. So we laid down probably for about 40 minutes, and the energy was so intense. When we got up, I felt so happy. I could feel the energy penetrating, and it was very healing, and it feels super positive. And so it definitely lifted my spirits. And this is the natural changes that if we didn't have any interference from these powers that be on this planet, boy, things would be just heading completely in the right direction.
Oh, they sure would be. Things would be way different and way more positive, and we'd all be in touch with our inner selves and understand a lot more of the reality in which we live.
Yeah, there was this bliss that I was feeling. And, Cindy will call it the Lakshmi bliss because it comes when we do mantras. With or without it, it also comes just with the penetration of the energy waves that are coming from the sun and also from cosmic sources, which ultimately is coming from Source, God with the big G, Prime Creator. Moderately strong M class 1.1 solar flare, as we were talking about, region 2824. So we have a moderately strong flare measuring magnitude M class 1.1 at its peak erupted from the active region 2824 at 1711 UTC, May 22nd. The event started 1703, ended at 1716 UTC. Its location does not favor Earth-directed CMEs, but there is a possibility that a part of it is directed towards us. And I've seen that before, and then we've gotten hit. This region was responsible for numerous B and C class flares today, including a C 6.1, C 6.0, 2C 1.3, C 2.5, and others. Multiple CME signatures associated with flare activity in the region were observed in coronagraph imagery prior to the 1.1 event. Initial estimates suggest these CMEs are directed east of the Sun-Earth line. However, additional data is needed to complete a thorough analysis. So we shall see.
Yep.
And out of Electroverse, at the same time, they're just talking about how the magnetic field again fails to deal with weak solar wind stream. And then the second part of this is talking about how we're living in a 1984, you know the word, begins with a no, system, and it's becoming blatantly obvious. So, and again, they're referencing that government report that said if we did lose the grid for a prolonged period of time, amazingly, they say 90% won't make it. That's insane, right?
That's really incredible. But, look at things like how many people are dependent on electricity. And without it, well, their lives would be drastically different.
Yeah, so, it's definitely a case where the magnetosphere is in decline, obviously. How far in? Well, there's a lack of data, and there are people that are doing their own computations. But we shall see. We're definitely seeing the effects of it. There's no doubt. And there's a lot of weird things going on. We saw those big quakes in China. And I did see a video that I didn't necessarily believe, and you could probably just Google it or YouTube it. It was saying that the Three Gorges Dam is no longer there, and questioning if it's gone because of the quakes, which again we were feeling were artificially flavored as part of the tit for tat that's going on. Wuhan Road erupts, underground explosion, nightmare video. Suspected sewer gas explosion in Wuhan. This is over in China, obviously. Caused a road to erupt underneath workers and passerbyers, injured 4 people. And traffic cameras caught it. Now, it wasn't a gas line. They're saying, well, maybe it was methane buildup. Everybody in Wuhan was eating too much chili.
Oh, my goodness.
I don't know. I'm wondering, is this more, ground shifting, expanding Earth, more artificial flavoring perhaps going on, different technologies perhaps being tested? It just portends that we should hang on tight and prepare as best as we can, guys, because things are getting kind of weird out there. Greek villages evacuated. First wildfire of the season is raging over there. Hang on, out in the west, the same thing. It's probably going to happen that we've seen in past years, and each year it seems to ramp up a little bit. Colorado was setting records last year, and the drought is expanding. And meanwhile, in some areas, like Louisiana, Mississippi, parts of Texas, eastern Texas, you got more than enough rain. So much rain, like we were saying, New Orleans, 5 to 6 times what they should have at this point. And record cold, late snow, May snow sweeps through western U.S. Obviously, things are changing, guys. And our brother Ben was talking about his family driving through the snowstorm up there in Montana. It's getting a little late in the season now. Could happen, but we have a lot of things happening at the same time here. And meanwhile, there's still a ton of daytime fireballs, meteors. This one's in Bahia, Brazil. and it is a daytime one shooting through the sky. And we have a green one over here over Morocco, and we have another one over China. It always looks so similar. They flash a little bit, and then whew, they're jumping to hyperspeed.
They sure do.
Meat eaters hit hardest as inflation is sweeping U.S. grocery store aisles. You know, one of the things I was thinking today, because we were out and about, we went into the bigger city closer to us currently, and man, life felt like normal.
Mm-hmm.
It felt so like normal. We saw families, kids, people, you know, out and about without certain paraphernalia on their faces, looking happy, looking like things were normal, enjoying themselves in outdoor cafes, doing things like, you know, taking the boats to the lake or going fishing or going on a camping trip. It was so normal. It felt so normal out there today. It looked, and it was busy. It was crazy busy everywhere you went. And there was also a headline that said the cases of the plague upon the land are at the lowest in a year. So that's all wonderful. Unfortunately, we got to ask ourselves, okay, now what?
Yeah.
You know, because you know, there's always something else that's worked into the script, as we've talked about scripture and the, you know, plans that are laid out in front of us. This is one of the things for sure. And then the other part to this is going to be, you know, the inflation, which will turn to hyperinflation at some point. There's many, many different forces that are driving this. And I do think that we here in the U.S. are going to have one of the tougher times, really, handling the changes, then also the shortages and more supply chain disruptions. For one, looking at the activity with the sun and obviously saying, well, seems like we're getting blasted. Why is the KP index hitting 5 to 7 when it should be hitting the 2 to 4? Right? What happens when there's something a little bit bigger? It's, you know, it's again, reasons to prepare as much as possible for off-grid living, whether it's in the middle of a city or whether it's in suburbia or whether it's in the countryside. Just be ready to handle it as best as you can, and just be aware that the possibility is very high for that. And then also the fact that at some point in time, well, look at the lumber. You know, 6 times what it was just a little while ago. Something happens, you know, tornado, flood, hurricane. Look at your insurance. Let me just tell you guys that too. As somebody that has recently gotten quotes on insurance, there was 2 different levels of insurance. One was basically, I forget what they called it, but the cost of the insurance to rebuild the house now, right, was more than twice what the other insurance was. And I'm sorry, I don't remember the actual terms they did. You know, replacement value or cost to rebuild. I think those might have been the 2 terms. But the cost to rebuild now was like more than double. It's like 2.5 times the replacement cost of what it, you know, would have been. That's because there's no materials out there, and what's out there is the inflation's hitting it so high. And as we've been alluding to, you got to wonder. We know there's certain people that are buying up all the land, and there's a lack of building lots out there too. So what's up with that? I mean, are there certain there's certain, as we were seeing, you know, these billionaires getting out of the stock market, for one. Sure, I'm sure they're investing in commodities, which are going through the roof. That's obviously something that they're going to make. Think about investing in, you know, lumber. You know, it's going through the roof. It'll be the same thing with foods and others as well. So when you know, insider trading, it's really pretty disgusting what we see go on this planet with the people in the know that know exactly what's coming, so they know how to capitalize on it. We have more billionaires getting insanely rich. We're going to be talking trillionaires.
I know it's insane how they know how to line their pockets because they understand how things work. It's just, it's not right, but that's what we have to deal with. So we have to protect ourselves because they're not looking out for us.
Yes, highest prices as far as meat goes. Red meat going up the most, chicken right behind it. Rising demand for meat, obviously. Now you got some restaurants and things coming back online. Grocery bills are rising disproportionately to some other things, and it depends on think about people that are on a tight budget. And what if you get a 20% increase in certain basic goods, and you're already on a tight budget? Every dollar is counted. It's so sad what's going on. Meanwhile, the rich are just hoarding all this energy and supplies. I forget what year was that the French Revolution started, because it sure feels like we're heading into a very similar time period. Weapons of the future. Russia has launched mass production of autonomous high-tech war robots powered by AI. Autonomous. Not necessarily a human making the decisions on where this is going. This is AI, guys. Hello, Terminator.
There it is, right there.
Yeah, and when we get to that critical junction, like I've talked to you guys and said, if we go wake up enough people that the people in the military said, wait a minute, I'm not doing this anymore. Why am I going to do this? This doesn't make any sense. Why should I go and, risk my life in rich people's billionaire wars? Why should I do that? Well, if they all walked off, maybe, I don't know what they have hidden away. Maybe we could stop things, or we could obviously see at some point it ain't going to matter, because there's going to be enough drones and AI controlled robotic weaponry that it ain't going to matter. Whether the entire world said we don't want this system anymore, at some point there's going to be very little that is going to be able to be done about it.
It's really true, and I think this is exactly why. Well, they knew that humans' consciousness would catch up to them eventually, and I think this is why there's already these replacements.
Yeah, this is the future. Yeah, it truly, everything is out there. Well, I forget what the name of that movie was with Clive Owen, but it was basically about the future where nobody can get pregnant. Everybody's sterile, and we see that we're heading in that direction with that movie. Of course, we've seen Terminator, and that with, that whole bleak looking future. We've seen, World War Z. We've seen the one with Will Smith. What was that one?
I don't remember. Not iRobot.
No, the one with Will Smith where he's the last guy apparently, and he's going around with his dog. Well, if you look at the plot line, it's pretty creepy. You look at the plot line to Resident Evil. Can we see life imitating these movies, or vice versa? And again, everything at the top, the interconnectedness of all of this. So don't forget, there's a total lunar eclipse, May 26, 2021. Actually, this will be followed 14 days later by a solar eclipse that eclipses the Pacific region. These energies would have been very, very positive. So again, this is really what the galactics have been telling us, is that there could be an attempt to hijack the positive energies incoming, and of course turn it into something that it won't be so benevolent. So again, another reason to be prepared, and to be prepared for things that look like they might be all natural, completely organic, but maybe aren't exactly that. Maybe they have some artificial flavoring involved.
Make it a point to stay extremely positive no matter what happens around you, because they're trying to pull you down. Keep that in mind.
Yes, most definitely. And so glad to see so many people out there that have been taking on really positive practices. As we work on a lot of people each week. So as the weeks just roll by, it's more and more people, and seeing them incorporating Qigong into their regular daily practice. meditation, mantras, and yoga, and so many just beneficial things, changing their diets and seeing that they are getting stronger, healthier, turning a corner, and releasing those things that no longer serve. We have amazing opportunities in this time to make so much more progress than in times past. That's really why all this is happening. It's all about stopping ascension. It's all about keeping as much of the herd hemmed in the pen as possible. And if this pen is going to be taken away, then they can herd you over into another pen that would still be under the same system. So, again, the most important thing, since we are eternal beings, consciousness, it won't be destroyed. It just changes forms. Just energy, that's what we are, consciousness itself. So we don't end when the body ends. We go on. And so we got to keep that in mind, and at the same time keep waking up others to transform and help Mother Earth ascend up into 5D, because she's going there whether we're going or not.
That's true. She's, well, she wants to wait. She wants to save every single one, but we have to do our part.
Yes, and we're all basically cells in the body of Mother Earth, in the physical body. And of course, you could view it, if you want, just the way so many Native Americans did, where you have Father Sky and Mother Earth, spirit and the physical realms. You could look at it from a Gnostic point of view. You can look at it from any point of view you want. Any way you look at it, though, these are such opportunistic times for positive growth and change, and so key for our soul growth. As always, guys, thanks for being part of the family. Make sure you're subscribed to both channels. Thanks for your support on Ko-Fi and Patreon. If you need to make an appointment, it's evolutionaryenergyarts@gmail.com or EEARTS@protonmail.com. Stay prepared. God bless, and namaste.
Namaste.